When Mercedes comes up, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Perhaps a sedan or a coupe. Leather seats, chrome details, flashy headlights. But there's something else that nobody knows about. Classic Mercedes vans. Yes, today you will see 11 classic Mercedes vans in this video. These are rare and iconic vehicles. Without dragging things out any further, let's get into the video. Go ahead, grab your tea or coffee, lean back, and enjoy the video. The first vehicle, the Mercedes L319, 1955. You should feel those years alongside this car. Germany is being rebuilt on top of ruins. Factories are slowly, cautiously coming back to life. Every engineering decision carries both an economic and a symbolic meaning. Amidst all of this, Mercedes brings a van to market. The Mercedes L319 doesn't look like an unusual vehicle at first glance, but when you touch it with your own hands, you feel something different. You can see that every screw was tightened by a master of the craft, and that every weld was made with care. In that era, production error tolerances were virtually non-existent. Mercedes didn't produce this vehicle merely to carry cargo. This vehicle was brought to market by Mercedes as a symbol that German engineering still existed after the war. The Mercedes L319 was sent to all four corners of Europe, and everyone understood that every crate carried inside that vehicle was a message to the world. Today, there are fewer than 100 Mercedes L319s left in the world. When you read that number, you can imagine this. When fewer than 100 examples of a model remain, it means that only a tiny fragment of an entire generation's effort, of an entire era's spirit, still exists even today. The second vehicle, the Mercedes O319, 1955, produced in the same factory in the same year and considered the sibling of the Mercedes L319, this vehicle was also its complete opposite. The Mercedes O319 was a passenger-carrying minibus. But there is an engineering decision here that might surprise everyone. The engineers decided to place the engine at the rear when designing this vehicle. This was not standard for that era. This architectural choice changed the vehicle from front to back. The front section remained completely empty. The driver sat right behind the windshield, almost merged with the vehicle. No metal in front, no control panel, just a pane of glass. And beyond it, life. The passengers boarding the minibus loved this experience too. When you looked outside from the Mercedes O319, the city seemed different, closer, more vibrant, more direct. Mercedes produced this vehicle until 1962, and it carried passengers on many tourist routes across Europe. We can't know how many passengers thought what thoughts inside that vehicle, how many farewells took place, how many passengers experienced what. Today you can see the Mercedes O319 in a museum in Stuttgart. But when you see that vehicle, you don't just see a car. You see a living window into those times, and when you look through that window, you feel as if you're living in the 1950s. The third vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz L206 D. This vehicle was produced in the 1970s. When many people hear the name of this vehicle, they picture in their minds a classic piece of German engineering drawn from scratch in Stuttgart. But this vehicle is the adopted Mercedes legend, acquired from the Hanomag Henschel brand. Rather than discarding a vehicle brought to market by a former rival, Mercedes redesigned it. This is one of the most obvious examples of embracing excellence. When the Mercedes L206 D came out, it left people in awe with its one-of-a-kind architecture. In those days, it carried thousands of sacks of flour to bakeries every morning. In narrow streets, postmen carried packages inside it. Today, people who love classic caravans are moved when they see this vehicle and greet it with respect. If a vehicle is born under a rival brand and transforms into the most loyal worker of a legendary brand, that vehicle is truly very special. Even though Mercedes engineers didn't design it from scratch, it still managed to carry the Mercedes star with pride. The fourth vehicle, the Mercedes T1 1977. You need to pause here. The reason is that what I'm about to say about the Mercedes T1 may sound ordinary, but at the end you will feel something different. The Mercedes T1 began production in 1977 and continued for a full 18 years. 18 years. While other vehicles on the market went through several model changes, the Mercedes T1 barely changed at all. Now you might think the vehicle had aged or hadn't been updated. But the Mercedes T1 didn't change because it didn't need to. Sales increased every passing year. Every year a waiting list formed. People loved the Mercedes T1 more than new generation vehicles and waited for it eagerly. This distinction explains a great deal to us. When people form a queue for a vehicle, that vehicle is no longer a product. In people's eyes, it becomes an object of trust. The Mercedes T1 was seen as the commercial backbone of Europe in its era. It was a legend that carried most people's goods, delivered products to warehouses, and while doing so, never left anyone stranded halfway. In all those lives, the engine quietly kicked in, and after finishing its work, quietly returned. Today, the price of a well-preserved Mercedes T1 continues to rise every year. The market, even after a long time, accepts what is right. And that suits the Mercedes T1 perfectly. That vehicle never rushed. The fifth vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz MB 100 1981. This may be the most controversial vehicle in this video because Mercedes designed this vehicle as front-wheel drive. In that era, Mercedes producing a front-wheel drive vehicle was considered a fantasy, and no one would have believed Mercedes would do it. Rear-wheel drive was an identity for Mercedes, a principle, almost a vow. But we can say that the Mercedes MB 100 broke that vow. The Mercedes-Benz MB 100 was a joint development project between Mercedes and Volkswagen, a vehicle suited to Europe's growing cities, capable of maneuvering in narrow streets, low-floored, and specialized for urban distribution. One with these features was virtually non-existent at the time. To produce a vehicle with these characteristics, front-wheel drive was inevitable. Mercedes had chosen practicality over ideology. This decision was discussed in the automotive press for years and is still discussed today. But the Mercedes MB 100, heedless of these debates, sold, worked, and served right in the thick of them. Today, in the collector community, it has become far more interesting because of this very feature, because the courage to deviate from the rules that define you is a stronger indicator of character than following those rules. The sixth vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz 207 D, the 1970s. In the company of this vehicle, I'll tell you something. Being ordinary doesn't mean being worthless. The Mercedes 207 D was an ordinary vehicle with its narrow body, unassuming design, and modest cargo capacity. It always stayed in the background from the day it was produced. But in reality, it lived in the garages of small tradespeople across Germany, the Netherlands, and France. It was the bakers, the florists, the plumbers, the furniture makers' vehicle. It set out in the morning and quietly returned in the evening without leaving its owner stranded halfway. Spare parts were very easy to find. Even car mechanics weren't strained by it. It could be repaired with ease. When you search for the Mercedes 207 D today, you still find examples in their owner's hands, carefully preserved. Because the Mercedes 207 D had won the hearts of the people who used it, it had achieved this simply by giving them confidence. And nothing can outlast trust. The seventh vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz T2, 1967, most people don't recognize this vehicle by its official name, because this vehicle was known among people by a special nickname, Dudo. Because the vehicle was produced in the Dusseldorf factory, it was called Dudo. At first it was Düsseldorfer Transporter, later shortened to Dudo. The Mercedes T2 was first released to market in 1967 and continued to be produced for a full 29 years. This figure is one of the largest in the automotive world. The reason this vehicle was produced for such a long time was that there was no other vehicle to replace it. Because it so perfectly filled the gap in the medium-heavy segment, designing a new vehicle was simply unnecessary. The engine, chassis, all parameters were so well balanced that the system resisted change. This was the natural defense of a design that had reached perfection. When something is perfect, no one wants to change it. Dudo is still on the roads today, unfazed by the hardships of commercial life. If a vehicle can still stand and work without strain even after 28 years, there is only one thing to say: that vehicle is absolutely right. The eighth vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz G-Class Kasten W460 1979. The biggest unexpected surprise in this video is this vehicle. Everyone who hears G-Class pictures a square-bodied, durable vehicle that knows no limits on rough terrain. But within the W460 family, there is a version that very few people know about: the Mercedes G-Class Kasten. That is the van version, the G-Class body with flat side panels, rear doors, and cargo space. The first time you see it, you can't hold back a smile, but then you understand what it is. This combination is the product of a practical genius. You see what an engineering marvel it is to combine the G-Class's four-wheel drive, high underbody protection, and rigid axle geometry with cargo transport. With this vehicle, you can easily reach a mountain town on a flood-hit road. You can provide service even in forested areas. The Mercedes G-Kasten is a master of these tasks. No promotional film was made for this vehicle, nor was it ever deemed worthy of any award. Today, the Mercedes G-Kasten is one of the rarest vans to be found in the world. When you encounter this vehicle, you will have seen one of the most silent, yet most original parentheses in Mercedes history. The ninth vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, first generation, 1995. This vehicle created a breaking point. The Mercedes Sprinter left the Mercedes T1 and the Mercedes T2 far behind. But along with that, it launched a different kind of revolution. When the first-generation Sprinter was produced, its rivals were silenced for a time. The reason was that although this vehicle belonged to the commercial vehicle category, it carried within it the touches of a passenger car. It had a recalculated load distribution and a new chassis geometry, a more aerodynamic body. But the most striking point was hidden where the change couldn't be seen. The Mercedes Sprinter gave its driver a comfort zone. In commercial vehicles produced at that time, driver comfort was not much of a consideration. The driver was seen as a functional component of the vehicle. The Mercedes Sprinter fundamentally changed this thinking. Seat ergonomics, steering feel, cabin noise management, these had all been recalculated. This comfort changed the way drivers looked at the vehicle. The Mercedes Sprinter created a sense of loyalty toward itself in its users. Today, first-generation Sprinter examples are gaining collector value. The reason is that this vehicle had created a breaking point, and these are gradually becoming historical documents. The 10th vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz Vario, 1996. In this vehicle lies Mercedes's least-known engineering philosophy, and I'm going to explain it now. The Mercedes Vario was a framework, a platform, a foundation. You could add whatever you wanted on top of it. An ambulance, a refrigerated body, a school bus, a caravan, a fire truck, a military vehicle. The Mercedes Vario was strong enough to handle all of these, and thanks to this flexibility, it was known as an extraordinary vehicle. The reason is that many vehicles serve a specific purpose. The Mercedes Vario, on the contrary, had created the conditions for its owner to use it however they wished. This is not an engineering decision, but in fact, a philosophical stance. If a vehicle's use is determined not by the vehicle itself, but by its owner, then it is not just a vehicle, it is an engineering philosophy. Today, the Mercedes Vario is no longer produced, but there is no vehicle available to fill its void. This void is concrete proof of how original that philosophy was. The 11th vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz Vito W638, 1996. This vehicle is a little different compared to the others. When most people look at this vehicle, they see only a modern urban minibus. But what truly sets this vehicle apart is that it broke the rule that commercial vehicles must be rough and uncomfortable. Imagine this: pickup trucks with hard lines, designed for years solely to carry heavy loads, suddenly possess the driving dynamics and comfort of a passenger car. This is not merely a design update, it is an unparalleled investment in the comfort of the person using it. The Mercedes Vito achieved this not with a look beyond its time, but together with innovative engineering. Produced in Spain's Vitoria factory and taking its name from the city where it was built, this vehicle was designed as front-wheel drive and produced with an independent suspension system. The Mercedes Vito was named Commercial Vehicle of the Year in 1996, demonstrating what an engineering marvel it was. Every comfortable and dynamic panel van we see on the roads today owes its soul to this vehicle. And if a machine eases not only the load behind it, but also the fatigue of the person carrying that load, that vehicle truly deserves the title of legend to the very end. When you look at all 11 of these vehicles together, you see a common thread running through all of them. What is their common point? None of them were designed to draw attention. None of them were produced to be placed in a museum display case. All of them were designed to work and to provide comfort. They set out early in the morning, carried loads, delivered people somewhere on time, and within these humble purposes, Mercedes never lost its own voice. We've reached the end of the video. In the next video, I'll be talking about the most beautiful classic Mercedes cars of the 1970s. If you are a classic car enthusiast or a Mercedes fan, I carefully prepare videos about classic Mercedes vehicles just for you on my channel. I recommend you take a look. If you enjoy it, you can subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and that way you'll be informed about the videos. Don't forget to like the video, because that's how the algorithm works. See you next time.